going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to DiabloCast, your Diablo 3 podcast. It is Friday, April 20th, 2012. This week I am joined once again by Jaded. Hello, sir. Welcome back.
Hey.
And then we have also got Jesse Cox.
Hello, I'm tweeting that we're live. Also, open beta.
Wonderful. Thank you for the tweet support. And we are sans a Kevin Sixing Carlino this week. I have no idea what the heck he is doing. I texted him. I sent him a Skype message. Maybe I should have tweeted him. Maybe he just checks his Twitter. I don't know. But anyways, he's not here. Maybe he'll show up halfway through the podcast. He didn't give me a heads up as to what was going on. But we will see if he just decides to show up. He's got his own show now, by the way, doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday over on EG. I think he plugged that last week, but he has started.
Wow, look at him.
Well, maybe what I'm thinking now is that he's too important for DiabloCast now that he has his own.
Well, let's be honest, he is. He always was. We just now know it.
We're just figuring that out right now.
It's just sinking in. It's really depressing.
Man. He's not going to tell me to message too. I think he's going to just throw a brick through my window with a letter attached. Mm-hmm. No more DiabloCast for me. You suck.
All that's accurate, by the way.
All of that is true. Some major announcements this week. I'm sure you have to know by now. Diablo 3 has gone into open beta this weekend, starting about 15 minutes ago and lasting until about midday Monday. The open beta available to pretty much everyone. We'll also be talking about some recent beta patches, updated terms of use, the new additions to the mini site, Diablo 2 ladder reset, and the end of the beta coming in just a couple of weeks. And then we will be discussing a few major topics like whether or not you should skip the beta, rare boss drops, Inferno farming, solo versus group play, and multi-boxing. Let us start with a little bit of discussion about the open beta. Wow, I didn't expect this at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure I outright said at points it will not happen.
You even said it will not. This will never happen.
Well, this wasn't my saying that has been informed by things that Blizzard has said. Blizzard has stated.
I think I said it specifically, which once again, this is looking bad for my record of prophecy. I think I specifically said last week that they would not release it, so it would have an air of mystery. So some people would have to go buy it. Like it was a smart business. I swear I said that stuff. Like, it's a smart business decision on Blizzard's part. I was an idiot. Well, I'm pretty sure at Blizzard they were like, Jesse said this, we're gonna do the opposite. F him.
There's truth to what you said, though. I don't think that's completely far fetched. I mean, that if they did that, there would be like a mystique behind it, you know. So, I mean, I don't think that's bad. And I wonder what, before we talk about the details, actually, I guess we can just talk about the details first. All right, so it launched officially at 12:01 noon. I have a strong feeling that the servers are probably down because everyone's trying to log in right now. But once they get the server stabilized, if you're not in right now, you can go ahead and access the Diablo 3 beta. All you need to do is pretty simple. If you don't already have a Battle.net account, you have to just create one over on battle.net. You then create your own battle tag, which is like a unique identifier for your account. So no matter what character you play on, you have your unique battle tag, which people can identify you with. And then after that, you download the beta client and you just log in with your Battle.net information, your email address and password that you log into battle.net with. And voila, you're in and enjoying the Diablo 3 beta for the next 2.5 days or so.
Now unless you're Korean.
Yes, unless you're Korean. And I was just about to say there's like a Q&A or an FAQ rather, a FAQ. Is that what people say? I always say FAQ. Some people say, why don't you say FAQ? Does anyone else say FAQ?
That's weird. I say FAQ.
Do you say FAQ, Jesse?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Really?
I should that
seems
websites.
Weird.
It's kind of like I know it should be FAQ because it's frequently asked questions. I know that's what it should be, but I'll just say like game facts, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, I think that sounds clever because it's like game facts because there's facts about the games, but that's not how it's spelled because it's hip and cool.
A duel on Tundra.
I know, right? On Tundra. It's so cold up here.
A duel upon a tundra. So under the FAQ or facts or whatever you want to call it, there's some just basic guidelines. And one thing, just as Jada just mentioned, is that this is open to everyone but Korean players, and it's not because they hate Korean players. It says specifically it has to do to regional differences and features with it. Actually, what did you say, Jaded? Why was there a difference?
Oh, I was just saying they were probably amping up the difficulty because Koreans plow through the content
right, they're
fast,
much better gamers.
Yeah, of course.
So for whatever reason, Korean players won't be part of this beta weekend. However, there will be a beta test open to them. They say starting on April 23rd. That will be invitation-only closed beta. So it's a little bit different, and that's going to be going to players in regions like Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau, I think is how you pronounce it. But yeah, that's that. There you go. And if you have any other questions about it, that will be answered in the official post. So if you haven't already, make your Battle.net account, create your battle tag, download the client, and again, you have 2.5 days to actually do this. Now, I want to talk just quickly. You know, normally this is just like the announcement portion, but this is pretty big, and I wanted to ask you guys why you think they have opened up the beta. And I guess we could start with you, Jesse, because I'm sure you probably want to recant on anything you said last week. Why do you think they have decided, besides the idea of like it's a smart business move to have a mystique behind no open beta? What do you think informed their decision to kind of go back on that and open it up?
I honestly don't have a clue.
No super crazy insight this week?
No, I have no weird... I was so completely wrong that I guess I don't quite... I mean, I can't say that anything bad about it, because it's an awesome thing.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, you know, for people who have had the beta, I feel like one of those guys who's just going to be an ass about it. Like, there's nothing new. Why do I care?
Right.
Right? So I guess opening up to everybody is kind of like Blizzard's way of saying, you know, okay, here you go. Enjoy.
Something I want to mention, too, is that I'm not sure if you're aware, Jesse, but earlier in the week, the starter edition of the game was found through a bug. I think it was early Monday morning. Or something. It was, I don't know, sometime earlier in the week, people without beta access were able to access the beta through like a glitch. And now this only happened for like about an hour or so. I think it was like 30 minutes to an hour. People figured it out and started playing it who didn't have beta access. And they were in the starter edition. There was literally, if you had them in your friends list and you moused over, like it said, this player has a starter edition of the game, which is kind of like a demo, and this is something that we're pretty sure is going to be available at some point post-launch, like a little trial of the game, and we talked about that possibility before. But that was discovered, and people had access to it. So I wonder, since that was discovered, now what happened was it was up for an hour, Blizzard found out people were doing it, they shut down the servers for like the entire day, and then once they came back up, that was unavailable anymore. But I wonder if upon finding out the starter edition, you know, once it's out there, everyone knew. I wonder if they're like, all right, well, maybe we should open up the beta now that this has happened.
That's a possibility. I did not know that. The only thing I heard even closely similar to that was that maybe a month or so ago, some people found a backdoor way to get out of the starting area and get into like later content.
Yeah.
And then Blizzard went in and fixed that. But I had never heard that had happened.
Yeah, I mean,
that makes a lot more sense, actually.
Yeah, it was just earlier this week, and it wasn't anything huge. It only lasted like an hour. But it was pretty cool to, first of all, find out that they already have the framework for the starter edition into the game. And from what I understand, anyone who had access to it and was playing it in the starter edition, you know, when they weren't supposed to be in the beta,
right,
they were actually periodically prompted to buy the full version of the game.
Really?
Which is funny because it's not even out yet. So it's pretty neat that they had that infrastructure. But what about you, Jada? What do you think about this whole thing, or why they may have opened up the beta?
I think too many Blizzard employees got personal threats, and no, it's probably just a technical thing. They want to stress test the servers, like that's their side of the thing, and the other side is just giving people a chance to try it. I mean, there's been so much hype around this game that maybe they just thought people deserved it, and so they put this together.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not a bad idea for stress test purposes. I'm just taking a quick look at the stream chat, and pretty much everyone is getting error 3003 and unable to log in. Servers are busy, yada yada yada. And we expected this, right? We kind of figured that, at least I would say for the first hour. Your best bet, honestly, is probably to wait like 5 or 6 hours, do something else, and come back when things have calmed down. Because otherwise, you'll probably be wasting 2 hours just trying to get in. And then even if you do get in, it's probably going to be laggy as crap. So, to be perfectly honest with you. But nevertheless, it's pretty exciting that they have opened up the beta for people who didn't have access to it. I'm sure they are absolutely stoked about this. I know they're absolutely stoked. And I did a little announcement video, and there's just so many people like freaking out because they can't wait to try the game.
Is it still? I'm actually right now trying to figure out. I'm sending messages off to people like, is it working for you? Is it working for you? Apparently it is. Yeah, you're right. It's not working for anyone.
Yeah. So beta's down. Too many people trying to go in.
That's a good thing. I've always said, even though fans probably like hate it, like, and I'm one of them. Like when something goes down, right, and it's like you can't connect to it because there's so many people trying to connect. To us, that's like the worst thing in the world. But to a company, that's got to be the best feeling. I just want to put that out there. Like if I created something and there were so many people trying to get on it that it was broken, I would be trying to fix it, but I'd have the biggest smile on my face the entire time.
It's like, oh, my website crashed because too many people were trying to log in. Like, yeah,
that's got to feel great.
Sure.
So that just shows the hype. I mean, and it's weird because I guess it's kind of genius in a way because we were thinking like. Oh well, Blizzard is gonna keep it in closed beta, and they're gonna make the mystique of the game and a little bit greater and hype it up a bit more. And what they did is they basically did the exact opposite and was like, we're gonna open it up to everybody. And then the people came out of the woodwork that definitely weren't there before. Like the gamers who had been keeping like maybe one eye on the project or just like listening for news, and then this comes out and they're like, oh damn! It's kind of a smart move. Again. I am going against everything I said 7 days ago, but whatever. I'm excited that it's out. I can now play with friends who I couldn't play with before.
Yeah. And you're definitely right. I guarantee there's a ton of people who weren't following it so closely, but as soon as they found out that the beta was open, they just jumped all over it and couldn't wait. And the other thing too is that not a ton of people know about this right now. I guarantee it. This wasn't announced until. Like midnight. It was like 12:30 or 1 Eastern Standard Time. So that puts it at like between between like 9 and 10 Pacific Time. So it hasn't even been a full day since they announced this. It takes some time for the word to get around to a lot of people who aren't checking the internet every 5 minutes. So as overloaded as it is now, I guarantee come like Saturday and especially Sunday, as people start to figure it out that it's open, it's going to probably be even a bit crazier. Although I guess by then, to be honest, as much as people probably don't want to hear this,
there'll be a cycle.
Yeah, people will. Some people, not everyone, but some people will get tired of the beta because it is so small. It's not,
right.
not everyone wants to max every character to level 13.
Yeah, seriously, for people who were like freaking out about not getting in the closed beta. And trust me, there were a lot of people who were sending messages like, I'm so mad I didn't get in. It's literally 2 hours of the game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what it is. It's a 2-hour chunk of the very beginning of the game, and you can only get to level 13.
Yeah, and that's if you take your time, too. I mean, you can do it in like 45 to an hour. But yeah, we'll see. There probably will be a cycle, though. I guarantee some people who play today won't play on Sunday. We'll see, though. With such a small window, they may just go ape shit all weekend. So now, also in terms
excited.
of what?
I'm very excited. I'm super excited that this is all this means to me is it's the final step before release, which I believe is 25 days away. So
awesome! Cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait. I also wanted to mention, too, in terms of the beta, now this open beta weekend, as far as we know, will just be occurring this weekend. The beta itself will be ending, so everyone who isn't part of just the open beta, but has gotten a beta key one way or the other since last September, the beta will be closing for everyone, on May the 1st, which is 2 weeks prior to the official launch of the game. So if you are in the beta officially and you're not coming in just through the open beta weekend, you have a little bit over a week left to play the game before it goes down for 2 weeks before the launch. Just wanted to make everyone aware of that. They're just giving themselves some time. This is pretty standard. It's pretty standard for them to drop it 2 weeks prior to the official launch, so this isn't anything out of the ordinary. Also wanted to let people know that beta patch number 17 and number 18 took place since the last podcast. Nothing really major. We got a character wipe in patch 17. Cross-game chat was also added in patch 17. Some bug fixes took place, and then in patch number 18, what happens? Friend list from other Blizzard games should now appear properly.
I think that was it, yeah. That was the only change.
So
because before it was kind of like its own section, and you couldn't really talk to anybody else, but now you can, so...
Yeah. So
that's kind of nice.
Yeah, so they're now fully implementing cross-game chat into the client. In the past, what was it? We could only talk with people on the WoW PTR, basically.
What? I didn't even know. I thought we could only talk to people in Diablo.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny, oddly enough, I was in the D3 beta a few days after the Mist of Pandaria beta launched, and I saw you, while I was playing D3, I saw you, Jesse, in the Mist of Pandaria beta. So, in the past, it was just that we could talk to people in the PTR, but now you can talk to people in the retail version of the games. But again, I mean, the beta's only up now for another week and a half, so it's not like it's a huge deal or anything. But they're just getting this framework and the groundwork all laid and set for the official launch of the game. Also, preparing themselves for the official launch of the game, there was an update to the terms of use. These updates include new Battle.net balance limits and security requirements. I just want to touch on that for a moment. And then also a discussion of global play. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so the new Battle.net balance limits and security requirements. For the upcoming release of Diablo 3's currency-based auction house, account security will become more important than ever. Absolutely true. They're making a few changes to ensure that players who wish to use the auction house have a safe and worry-free experience. Specifically, beginning prior to the launch of Diablo 3, in order to carry a Battle.net balance greater than $100 USD, players will be required to attach a Battle.net authenticator or a mobile authenticator to their Battle.net account. And this is perfect. They needed to do that. Also, in addition to that, there is a maximum Battle.net balance limit of $250 USD or equivalent. That is interesting.
Yeah, that is.
I did not think that they would have a maximum that low.
Oh, so that actually means you can't sell anything for more than that? 250, right?
Well, I don't think that's true because you can sell it and just put it right into PayPal. You don't have to, but you can't. Yeah, that's true. But you couldn't sell something greater than 250 and put it in your Battle.net.
Wait, so they took out a step? I was under the impression that it went Diablo, Battle.net, PayPal.
No, you can't.
You can go straight from Diablo to PayPal.
The second you put it in your Battle.net account, it stays there forever. You can never withdraw it unless you're using it in the auction house or in the Blizzard store.
Or to buy Blizzard store stuff.
Huh. So what happens is, like, on the point of sale, you decide if you want this to go straight into your PayPal account when the item is sold. So when the item is sold, it's either when the item is sold and the money goes through, it'll either go directly to your Battle.net balance or to your PayPal, but you can't go in between the two ever. So that's an interesting point, though, that you make, Jaded, because if you do sell an item for say $500, you get some crazy rare item, you're pretty much forced to take it out unless you want to lose $250.
Is there like a cutoff limit where it'll just go down to the max limit, or like that seems kind of weird to me? I don't know.
That's something else I don't know. I think we'd have to investigate that. I wonder now with this if that's a maximum sale price, which that does seem weird to me, because I honestly envision people selling stuff for more than $250, the very rare items. I think that's possible. So
that's definitely. I think you always see those crazy blog posts or like news posts on someone making a ton of money in a game. You're not going to see that for a specific item if this is the case. A really rare item goes for like $1,000 in Diablo. Yeah,
we'll have to see if this does put a cap on the asking price or the high-end sale price of items in game. I hope it doesn't, because this would really kind of alter the way the economy functions if there is a ceiling of $250 for the possible sale of items. To the other point, though, I am thrilled that they are forcing a BattleNet authenticator. I think that this is a genius idea, because without this, they could probably run into major issues having real money attached to it. I mean, in the past, if your account gets hacked, whatever, you lose some characters, you can get that restored most of the time. But now you could end up losing hundreds of dollars.
It must have been like a legal issue that they wanted to do this.
I'm sure.
Because, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
I mean, who doesn't have an authenticator or a way of protecting their BattleNet account anymore?
I'm sure lots of people don't. I mean, it's not like this is really super prevalent on many online games.
Yeah.
I don't actually really know of any other. Nothing that I play requires additional security other than your password.
I know Terra that just came out actually has some sort of similar authenticator type stuff.
Jesse, can you think of anything else?
Star Wars had one. Star Wars had a thing where you had to do a password and then something else as well. So, I mean, it's... don't get me started on authenticators. I'm convinced it's a giant Blizzard conspiracy. I've been convinced of that for a long time.
Wait, I need to hear this.
God.
What's the conspiracy behind an authenticator?
Years ago, I didn't have one, and I was fine. Like, everything was cool. And then right before they released the final Lich King dungeon, my computer gets hacked. Or not hacked, but my game gets hacked. And they say, at least in a press release, that it's because Adobe Flash, there's a back door where if you go to certain websites, people can access to your BattleNet info. Don't even ask me how that makes sense. Needless to say, as I sat there on chat support for hours waiting to connect to someone, it hit me that this is a genius way to make a few bucks on the side, or to sort of shore up their investments, because here's an example. There's a lot of people who are really careful and still get hacked. Like one of my friends, he has two computers. One he surfs the internet for, and one he just plays WoW on. That's literally all that's on his computer is WoW, and even that one still got hacked. Right? So
that seems weird.
Right? And so I was like, it's just like a crazy conspiracy that Blizzard is, because you don't lose anything real, right? Like they go in, they take your stuff, and then Blizzard gives it back to you, right? And that's so Blizzard hacks your stuff. You go out, get the thing, and then they give it back to you. And so you have to either go out and get it for your phone, which you've already bought the phone, or you have to go get the button thingy.
That is ridiculous.
Which costs like $9.99.
That is so ridiculous. But
it's not a real thing. I mean, it's clearly insane.
You got your account hacked. You should probably buy one of our authenticators.
Yeah, but the thing is 3 years ago, account hacking seemed rare.
Yeah.
If you go on WoW right now and ask anyone, I guarantee 9 of 10 have been hacked.
Yeah.
And that's why they got an authenticator. And the one person who hasn't been hacked is either really lucky or has had an authenticator for years. And the people who are really lucky, those are the people who, in a year from now, will get hacked. Like, I mean, I guess because it's the biggest game. I mean, it's probably some guys.
Like add-on, isn't add-ons where most people get their accounts hacked because they download it?
I'm sure it is. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an insane ramblings of a madman. But when you think about it, I mean, yeah, it's mostly through that. That's why a lot of companies don't do that now. I mean, Star Wars shied away from it, and Rift shied away from it, and they're basically clones of WoW, right? And they were like, we're not going to do that. We don't want people hacking our games. And they still even use authenticator systems. So, I don't know. It always baffled me that somewhere in some country, some guys have the technological know-how to hack through, like, massive systems to steal your fake items. Like, we should be afraid of these people. If they ever use their powers for true evil, we're all screwed. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I guess you're right. There was also an update for the global play that will be in the terms of use. There's an update for the global play that will be allowed in Diablo 3. They say specifically here, when Diablo 3 pre-sales began, we mentioned as part of the purchase process, the Diablo 3 players will be able to choose to play on game servers based on the Americas, Europe, or Asia, regardless of what region they are connecting from or which language version of the game they purchased. So as you see in the terms of use, the name for this function is called Global Play. So they just updated the terms of use to mention that Global Play will exist within Diablo 3. And that's basically that. But yeah, conspiracy theories aside, for this example, because of the real money auction house, I think it is good that they have the authenticator. Because otherwise, Blizzard would be hacking in and stealing our real monies, and that would be terrible.
Yeah, no, I mean, the authenticator, truthfully, is about security and protecting yourself.
Yeah.
And even if it was some crazy conspiracy or not, it doesn't matter, because what it does is a good thing.
Absolutely.
It provides you with like peace of mind, I guess would be the best thing. Because who knows if it actually legitimately works well, but the fact that once you get one, you're never hacked again, like it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Then, it's worth the $6 or the download on your iPhone or whatever. So yeah, you should have one.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Next in news, we will be mentioning the most recent update to the Darkness Falls Heroes Arise mini site. Specifically, we got two major things. First of all, the monk was revealed. So we have everything that we've experienced in the past. We have a little bit of a story. There's also a video associated with that. A video went up on IGN, their exclusive spotlight video as well. And then we had a few unlocks to also mention. There were 2 developer diaries that have unlocked since we met last. So if you haven't taken a look at those, now would be a good time to do so. Go ahead and head on over to the Darkness Falls Heroes Arise mini site. And we're going to continue to unlock more and more things until we finally get that badass video at the end. There was also a post that went up about the heroes of the day, which I thought was kind of neat. People who send in their pictures with their banners. There was an official post that showed, I guess, the winners of the various days and whatnot. So still up, we have got after the monk, we have got the wizard and the witch doctor, which will be coming in subsequent weeks. And again, we'll expect more of the same with that stuff up until release.
I saw a lot of people were disappointed with the monk video. I don't know. What did you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, those videos in general, I'm just kind of meh, because it's never really, for the hardcore fan, it's not really much. It's not much new. Were there specific complaints? Like, what were they complaining about?
Well, they brought up things like there's just really old content in them. If you look closely, like the way you could just tell there's really old, outdated content in them.
Oh yeah. I think they were complaining about it on Twitter. I was wondering what that was in reference to, because they were talking about a video, and they were talking about how like it looked like it was from a year and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah,
and they were really mad about it. Yeah.
So the only one that I got excited for was the barbarian, but that's probably because I love the barbarian.
Yeah, I'm interested though that even occurred. I mean, yeah, especially like I remember the barbarian video. There was a lot of new content, new enemy types and areas that they, even if it was a 3-second clip. I'm surprised that they have such ancient footage for the monk one, and I didn't notice that. But again, I don't like thoroughly inspect these videos because I know there's not going to be anything groundbreaking in them unless it's like a 3-second clip of new enemies. But even that, I'm just like, eh.
Did you guys see the footage of? Oh man, it was I don't remember which of the developers it was, but he was talking about the art design for the bosses.
Go on.
It's kind of cool. He was going. The reason why I bring this up is because before they were talking about how they designed the different heroes, right?
Yeah.
But they started talking about the bosses, and they showed like screenshots of Asmodean or Asmodan. What's that guy's name?
I think it's Asmodon.
Yeah, that guy. Basically the big bad guy that we've seen stuff of.
Yeah.
Videos of. But the design of him is so crazy because they literally go all over the place. Like, you know how most people have, like, we want him to look this way? This isn't that. It goes, like...
Is that the photo reel where they had, like his mouth was on his stomach at one point, and, like, all sorts of, like, random stuff?
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, at one point they look like the bug... he looked like the bug guys from WoW.
And he had a skirt, and then he also had the skirt.
He looked like Bale a little bit as well at one point.
Yeah.
And then I mean, they were all over the place, which I think is kind of neat because they didn't hold themselves down. Like, they drew stuff, and then I'm sure someone came in and said, that looks like something else we've done, change it, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what kind of crazy, demonic monsters there are later on in the game, because this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder what happens with the artist. They just, like, throw this concept art to somebody who they've been working on it for, like, all day, and then the guy just says, make it more awesome, and then they have to go do that.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because they have to strike a balance here. I mean, they want to make these things look imposing and whatnot, but they also want to make sure it has that Diablo feel. And I am not enough of an artist to be able to distinguish the difference of what feels Diablo and what doesn't, but from what I've seen, I definitely feel like they've hit it on the head. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, I think they do a good job with keeping a distinct Diablo feel amongst all their characters, and they do have to be careful because they have that huge universe of WoW, and people hate to see any comparisons between the games. So I think that they're also careful to make sure they tread lightly around that issue as well. I mean, I've seen a few. I remember when we were looking at the concept art of Diablo, and there were a few iterations of him that definitely seemed very WoW-ish. In fact, what was it that we talked about? Oh, yeah, we were talking about Imperius last week and how I thought that he kind of looked like the Lich King. It was just specifically his helmet, really, that gave me that impression.
Right.
Yeah, I think that they do have to be careful about that, too, and it's got to be frustrating, like Jada said, as an artist, if you spend so much time on something and then they're like, nope, redo it.
Well, I'm sure they love it. It's their job. It's what they do.
Oh yeah, no, I have to imagine that they love it. And I guess we're gonna take a moment here to welcome Kevin to the podcast. Let's give him a ring. He woke up. He arose from his slumber. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, hi.
I had an economics exam last night, and then I started playing Call of Duty just to kind of like unwind.
Oh, you can't say that. People are gonna hate you.
All right, well, I did really good, so well, and then I completely forgot to set an alarm, so I literally like just rolled out of bed. I ran in the bathroom, brushed my teeth. Like, I don't even have a shirt on. My hair is all messed up.
We don't need to know any of that, though.
I kind of did.
I need to visualize who I speak to, their current state. All right, well, welcome to the podcast, Kevin. Glad to have you here this week. Unbelievable. You're like the what is it? You're like the unreliable cousin who always shows up late to family events.
He's the me from 2 weeks ago.
No, but honestly, I'm never on time for anything, so this is exactly like me.
This is fair enough. All right, well, to bring you up to speed, we talked about the open beta, terms of use, stuff like that, and we're just going to carry. I don't even want to bring you up to speed. You don't deserve
and then I
it.
rambled. No, then I rambled for like 20 minutes about insanity. Just insanity.
Normal.
And then you came on to save us.
But that's normal. Insanity from you is normal. We accept it.
That's true.
We openly embrace it. Diablo II ladder is being reset for anyone still playing the game, although I have a feeling this weekend no one will be. I'm sure everyone will be engulfed in Diablo 3. But if you get your healthy dose of Diablo 3 this weekend and afterwards you decide to go back to Diablo 2, you should know about the Diablo 2 ladder reset. And I also wanted to mention, too, there was some questions brought up on the forums about whether or not they still plan to support Diablo 2 post-launch of Diablo 3, and the response was yes. They will still support the game, and along with that, ladder resets are to be expected as well. So we're still going to see Diablo 2 ladder resets, at least for the foreseeable future. I don't know that... This is something that's pretty interesting to me, too. As games age, how long companies are willing to support them. Obviously, the larger the company, the more the funds, the more you're able to do something like that. And I think as time goes on, too, it becomes easier to support those older games. You know, it requires less staff, less man hours, and things like that, with people not playing them. Do you guys think that we're going to see an indefinite support of Diablo 2 or like 15, 20 years down the road that we're going to get a final cutoff of this game? And it's old, especially with the old BattleNet, too. I mean, actually, no, Kevin, aren't they bringing these old games onto BattleNet 2.0?
Yeah, that was the plan. Like every time I get the chance to ask them, like I kind of just squeeze that one in there. Like I don't even know. I've asked that question like pretty much every BlizzCon since like 2008. So I mean, as far as I'm aware, yeah, the plan is still to like port all the legacy games. So Warcraft 1, 2, 3, or not 1. Warcraft 1 wasn't BattleNet, but Warcraft 2 and 3, Diablo 1 and 2, StarCraft 1, all to BattleNet 2.0.
Yeah.
Which means that you'd be able to play them and people will see you on Real ID and things of that nature.
Yeah, so I guess if that happens, maybe everything I just said won't happen, that they will. I mean, if these games are going to BattleNet 2.0 and that extra implementation of cross-game chat and everything, which is a genius idea for them because it gets people seeing their friends on other games, wanting to play the same reasons we've talked about in the past, maybe they will just indefinitely support Diablo 2 unless the company goes under at some point. So.
I hope there's some way for them to increase the security because I don't know if you guys have played Diablo 2 lately. It is 90% bots and spam.
Yeah.
It's not a fun environment, and I just really hope that through doing this with the BattleNet 2.0, they're able to increase the security in some way.
Yeah, I mean, literally just by porting it to BattleNet 2.0 will already increase the security. The problem is that there are thousands and thousands of CD keys out there, so if they just ban somebody, all the person has to do is grab a new CD key with their bot and log back in again. It's like, it's really not a big deal.
That's true.
Yeah, with BattleNet 2.0, everything's through the BattleNet 2.0 account system or whatever, so they'd have to log in with their email address, and they can easily just ban their email address, which is tied into any other Blizzard games that they have, and then yeah, they're still going to have another CD key to just pull out when they get banned, but then it's a whole new process because now they have to plug it into their Battle.net account, and they have to grab the new key that they get, and then they have to plug that into the bot. So, I mean, I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's possible. And then, it's Battle.net 2.0, so they're going to also have to figure out how that protocol works, and they're going to have to reverse engineer that, and, all that good stuff.
I would like to see support like something like that. I can't imagine that it's on the forefront of their minds, because the player base is going to be the Diablo 2 community is going to dwindle significantly once Diablo 3 comes out. There's no question about that. You know what I mean? Just like the StarCraft 1, although the StarCraft 1 community is still big, especially because of its roots. I mean, they're still playing StarCraft 1 competitively in Korea. Like, this is still a big thing that's occurring. You don't have there's obviously a huge community behind Diablo, but not in that sense, like that esports community where there's players playing it for a living. That doesn't really happen in Diablo. And the people who are playing Diablo 2 for a living are farmers that are selling items, and those people will move on to Diablo 3. I mean, there's no question that will exist in Diablo 3. It'll exist in game. And you know what? I bet there will also be second-hand sites as well. I can't imagine that there won't be, because it'll run on a different system that the auction house does. Maybe they'll offer, sell your items here, there's no transaction fee, or you can buy items for cheaper than you can on the auction house current rate. Like, I'm sure that stuff will exist. So that being such a large part, like as Jade had said, there's so many bots in Diablo 2, that's all for selling items. So all that stuff will move over to Diablo 3. Hopefully the bots get taken care of through Warden, fingers crossed. We'll have to see if it officially comes out. I want that fresh. I know a lot of people, they want to just experience the game when it's done from start to finish. What do you guys think about skipping the beta? Let's start with you, Jesse. How do you feel about is that something that you kind of see as valid? Would you ever skip a beta for any game?
No. Honestly, I think that's kind of like a. I'm not gonna make any friends by saying this. I think that's kind of like a hipster comment.
Super
like,
hipster.
Look. I mean, I could play the beta, but I don't want to spoil it for myself. I think that's
you have to sip a
what that
latte
comment
while
is.
saying that as well.
Yeah. Have your ironically too large glasses on as well.
That you don't
and your
need.
shirt your V-neck shirt that goes down way too far. Yeah.
Very long chain.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, I don't know how many people are going to be saying that. I think it'll be more of, I don't have time for it right now. I'll pick it up when it goes live. Like, I want to, but I don't have the time for it. So I'll pick it up later. I think that's probably the reason why most people would not play the beta. Anyone out there who's purposefully like, I have the opportunity to, and I have the time, I'm just not going to do it. That guy is at Starbucks right now, sipping his latte.
But he's on his laptop, and he's not sure if he should download the beta or not.
Writing a script, writing a screenplay.
God, there's so many. I guess I don't know how many hipsters would listen to this podcast anyways, though, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, they listened to it before it became cool.
Kevin, would you ever skip a beta? Do you understand why people would?
I mean, I kind of get that. It's pretty much just like you said. People don't want to ruin it for themselves, which, I mean, I guess I kind of understand. You know, people don't want to hear spoilers or whatever. But like for me personally, hell no. Like if it's a game, especially like Diablo, that I've been waiting for so long, like there's no way that I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I waited 10 years, I can wait another 2 months. And every time I said that before the game actually went into beta, I was lying. Like it was painful to wait that extra 2 months. I could not wait for the beta to start.
Yeah.
That is the most honest thing anyone has ever said, because that's totally true. You know, everyone's like, you know, it's something you really, really want, and then it gets postponed, and you're like, I've waited 10 years, I can wait another 2 months. Inside, you're dying. Sure, you say that, but inside, you're like, no. Yeah.
Like PvP in Diablo 3 getting delayed for about, a month or two. Like, it's no big deal, I can wait. No, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. How about you, Jaded? Any further insight?
Those people are way stronger than I will ever be to not get into the beta. Yeah, like maybe it's just because if they get into the beta and play it, they'll be even more hyped, and then they have this like 15-day window where they can't do anything.
I kind of have that in a sense. Like I can't. It's the same. It goes back to the thing that I've said before, where I wish we hadn't heard about Diablo until like the start of this year. I wish that there wasn't such a long wait, because that kind of stuff's like antagonizing for me when I'm really looking forward to something and I know that there's no way to get a hold of it prior to a certain point. I would say that I'm kind of the same way in that sense. I would wish that I wouldn't have to experience it, but I don't know that that's the same with gameplay. I think gameplay, especially like for example for the Diablo 3 beta, you're not going to get a huge leg up, but you have a feel for the game. You probably also have a feel for the character that you want to play as well after playing through the beta. I think that that's important for a lot of people, because I like for myself, that decision in RPGs is always kind of a tough one for me, because I know I'm going to want to invest a lot of time into whatever character I first start. So I always want to make sure I have the right character. It's almost like picking names, where that's not going to be important in Diablo 3 because names aren't unique, but in games where they are, I spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out a good name that I want. And it's weird because I'm not even like an RP kind of guy, but in that sense I am. Like, I need the coolest name because people will remember me for years. And I must have a memorable name to coincide with that, which never really happens, but in my brain that's what I think. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I can kind of understand it, but at the same time, I think that this is a great opportunity for people to do a few things, to test if their system can run the game, to figure out what class they want to play. I think that those two things alone are incentive enough to get your hands on the beta once the servers actually start working, because as far as I know, they're still down right now. People are still... Every time I go back to check the chat, people are like, the servers are broken still. Nothing is working.
And let's be real, when it comes to the actual beta, that's pretty much all it's good for, is learning about the classes, playing through it a little bit, trying to figure out what you want to do, coming up with creative names that fit, the way you're going to play your character, getting experience. Because if you're worried about spoilers, spoiler alert, there aren't any.
Yeah, that's...
right? Like, there's barely anything happens. Like we said at the beginning, it's roughly an hour to 2 hours of actual gameplay. I mean, you're not going to get spoiled. Like, you're not going to find out that Deckard Cain was a demon all along. Whoa! Sorry.
I still don't understand how he survived getting hit by the falling star. It makes zero sense to me.
That dude's a beast.
Yeah, it makes no sense. He's Deckard Cain. What else do you need?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
All right, now moving on. Take a quick moment to talk about rare boss drops. We've known it for a while. When you've been playing the beta, people have realized, all right, when I first do a run through on a character, I'm getting these rare items. But on the second run through, it's not happening most of the time. Well, we did get a blue post speaking to this fact. They said specifically that the possibility of a boss or anything really dropping magic gear or rare gear when you kill him remains intact on kills subsequent to your first. The probability may change, but it does not change to a probability of 0. Specifically, he said, on your first kill of a boss in normal difficulty, you are guaranteed a random rare and a class rare, as well as some blues and other stuff. All other kills on all difficulties result in standard drop probabilities. You have a decent chance of getting a rare or two every time you kill a boss. So your first run through of normal, every boss you kill, it says you're guaranteed a random rare and a class rare. But then in subsequent playthroughs of normal or in the other difficulties, you'll go back to the basic dice roll instead of a guarantee to get something. But even that guarantees, you're not guaranteed to get a specific piece of gear. You're guaranteed to get a specific kind of type of gear. Is this? Why, I mean, I have to wonder why they did this. Is it just because they want people to see rares early on in the game, so they guaranteed a chance for those to drop?
I think it's because they want it to be, it's kind of an accessibility thing to get everyone some type of gear, at least a little bit. And it always sucks to kill a boss and just get nothing. So that is incentive to,
Someone's typing like crazy right now. Kev.
What? You can hear that?
Yes.
Holy crap.
It's like,
I gotta mute this. My bad.
Hey guys, don't worry.
Yeah, it's pretty much a slam.
Just writing a letter to my grandma.
See what happens.
he's playing Call of Duty right now. He stopped.
Sorry, Jaden, I had to say something.
Where was I? The only problem I see is that maybe it will be beneficial to reroll a character. Like, you already have the items. Why not reroll and then get more rares? Like, I don't see a way to kind of stop that side of thing, other than once you get so far into the game, you're going to have a ton of Magic Find gear. You won't really be doing that, I guess. I don't know.
Jesse, any idea why they may have done this? Do you think it's because they just want people to get items in their first run through, just to be like, ooh, yellows, and then after that, no big deal?
I think it's the drug dealer principle.
Yeah.
Is you give them something nice up front, and then they keep coming back trying to get more. Right? I mean, that's how drug dealers work, right? They're like, here, have a sample, and then you come back, you have to pay for it.
All right, that is 100% true. Is that why?
That's what it is.
Is that why lawyers offer free consultation? They say, hey, this is how much money you can make, and then you pay out the rear for it. Is that what they do?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty much how everyone works. Is they like, when you see those things like, come and get a cheap oil change, and then when you get there, they're like, we have a bunch of other stuff we'd like to sell you. Right? That's how all businesses work. I think Blizzard's just doing it in the game now.
What is it? Is it what they call the bait and switch or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. You get a coupon to go. You get one thing, and they try to sell you something else entirely. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is, and it's kind of like that. Except it's
maniacal.
Yeah, Blizzard's saying you get free stuff the first time you do this, and because you get free stuff, and you're like, ooh, I like that. You're going to go back and try and get more, but you won't get what you got the first time. It becomes random then. And so you'll keep going back like, but I got it the first time. I can do it again. Right? It's still good. And then you keep trying. It makes sense. It's a smart way of doing things.
You're always chasing that first time, as they say. Inferno farming. Last week, Bashiok talked about the fact that it's going to take quite a while for people to farm Inferno. He said it's going to take months, in fact. And I said no. I said no way, that's not going to happen. People are going to do it pretty quickly because I know the hardcore gamers far exceed the expectations of the developers. But Bashok kind of recanted his statement, saying that, well, I guess it's possible that people are going to start farming Inferno early, but it'll probably be due to exploits. And I mean, that's what I figured out too, to be honest.
Is that what he was talking about when he was talking about loopholes and people could go in? That had that comment, that blue post had me a little worried. I was like, what is he referring to?
Yeah. So basically what he's saying, and people were saying that, oh, it's not going to take months for people to farm Inferno. We'll figure out a way kind of thing. And I think he's alluding to the fact that if people are starting to clear Inferno anytime less than a month or 2 months, it's probably because they figured out an exploit, not because they did it legitimately. But you know what? That's kind of part of playing the game, like finding these tricks and these loopholes. And I understand why they have to get rid of them, because it kind of ruins the gaming experience that they want us to go through. They've set these systems in place and they want us to play a certain way. But I've always enjoyed figuring out those loopholes. And I'm not talking about, even just glitches. I don't really find, if you find a glitch, I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world to use it. But that doesn't mean I'm okay with like straight out hacking into the system. But if you find something within the game space that you're able to utilize to your advantage to get past here's a perfect example. Monster pathing in WoW, how you could play as a range character and take advantage of the fact that monsters like wouldn't go up certain ledges, and you could just hop back and forth and continuously work them down until you killed them. That's something that I did and many people did in WoW to farm instance bosses solo. Like that's in
like every MMO too,
right?
Like I remember that being in Lineage 2 back in the day. People would purge on a ledge and do exactly that.
Right, and like that's, if it's within the game space, if you're not having some like outward program modifying it, like I'm okay with things like that. I think that's part of, finding these special tricks and finding these special things to do within the game to have you accomplish something that you'd be unable to do otherwise. How do you guys feel about that? Are you okay with it, Jesse, Kevin?
I mean, yeah, it really depends.
I'm not saying I support hacking, but I'm saying like if you're playing the game and you find a way to bypass something using in-game mechanics, I think it's okay.
But I mean, it's technically like an exploit. And let's say I find an exploit to make me go invisible and just kill everybody and nobody can see me. Well, that's not... Like, I mean, that was something that happened in Diablo 2.
You send me a Skype message and tell me how to do it. That's...
I mean, that was possible in Diablo 2. In fact, it's still possible in Diablo 2, except they kind of sort of fixed it, and you can't really kill it. Like, you can still go invisible as a barbarian, but you can't kill anything. You can't interact with anything. But, I mean, it's still possible. It's pretty useless, but it's possible. My point is...
I just always thought it was exciting when you figured something out. And
well, definitely.
To execute it as well.
I mean, to go back to Diablo 2, there's the whole glitch rush thing, and that lets you get into hell, at level 1 without having to get to level 50 or whatever it is supposed to be to kill the Nightmare Ancients. So, I mean, it just depends on what kind of exploit you're doing. Like, if it's one of the things, like I just said, like, hey, you can go invisible and not get hit by anything, well, then that's kind of dumb because you didn't really, you didn't accomplish much of anything other than finding a way to trick the game into making it think you're not even there.
Yeah. I also think that part of it is being able to do something like feeling powerful, because that's what these types of games are all about. You want to build up a powerful character. You want to feel like you're accomplishing something that other people can't do, sort of deal. And that's something else that I always kind of had whenever things like this took place. Like example, I just mentioned like the pathing stuff in WoW, because I was like, lots of people can't do this. And being able to do it, it's kind of like a unique experience. At least it feels that way to me as an individual. Jesse, do you have any experience with anything like that in any games? Did you ever do any glitching?
I'm trying to think specific to Diablo. Maybe there might have been a time when
you know a guy who knows a guy.
I know a guy who knows a guy who might have tried duping many times during Diablo 2.
And how did that go for him?
It went well at first until he realized it was an uncontrollable machine, and once you do it once, you can't stop, and it becomes just. It sort of ruins the game, is what happens.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like, yeah, I'll make $1 million. Yeah. So I know a guy who might know a guy who did that.
I guess that's the thing, though. Like, there's varying levels of it too, right? Like, if you're doing something that is going to outright ruin the challenge 100%, then it's really, it becomes like, and Blizzard has to draw the line, and they are likely just going to go, if you're doing any glitching or exploits, that's it. There's ones that are certainly more severe than others. I would say that that friend who knows somebody who did the duping, like that was kind of serious because it ruined the game's economy.
It made SOJ just
right
worthless.
Right. So, but the thing is, like, as a company, Blizzard can't say, okay, these glitches and exploits are okay, but these ones aren't. So I suppose that with that, that's kind of why they have to say it is all bad. You cannot do any of it. Even if it's never even if whatever you're doing never really directly affects other people.
But the reasoning behind it's the same, though. It's just like you were saying. If Kevin was like, I found some awesome thing, and you were like, oh well, you can tell me about it, right? it's the same thing where when I see some guy making bajillions or trading for really great items because he has like 12 million SOJs and stuff. I want that too.
Yeah.
Like, if he's going to break the game, why can't I break the game? I mean, that's the kind of attitude that people have. And so, I guess when it comes down to it, you have to stop all of it in order to stop the bad part. It kind of sucks, but that's like, you have to be, if you're against a little bit, you have to be against all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, especially as a big company, they really can't say, that some of it's okay and some of it's not. I don't think that's kind of a possibility for them being a large corporation, But I mean, it's likely to happen. Diablo 3 is going to come out, and people are going to find some ways to get past areas and farm bosses that they shouldn't technically be able to do based on their gear set or their level or whatever. And we'll have to see how Blizzard decides to respond, if they're going to outright ban people or what. Because that's certainly a possibility that goes with that. I mean, that's kind of the risk as well. If you do something like that, you run the risk of getting a ban to your account, which is kind of a big deal now that all your games are tied to one account for Blizzard. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Next up, a little discussion about solo versus group play. Interested to see what you guys are going to do, I guess, before we jump into it. Let's go down the line. Kevin, solo or group?
I don't know.
I don't know. You're useless. Jesse, solo or group?
Group.
And
Easy
how
choice.
about you, Jaded?
Yeah, same here, group for sure.
Yeah, so Kevin's the loner in the corner.
Well, I mean, I prefer to play in a group, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to have a group to play with.
Oh, you're so sad.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, man.
Was that a guilt trip? Was that like, I could use some friends?
Well, it's funny though. I'll definitely play in a group probably most of the time, but a lot of times when I sit down to game, sometimes I just don't want to play with other people. Like, sometimes I just kind of want to be doing my own thing, especially since gaming, for me is like kind of trying to unwind and relax, and sometimes I just don't want to deal with people. But the reason we're bringing this up is because people were asking if you're deciding to be a solo player, if you're going to be screwed in the game. And there was a blue post by Bashiok mentioning a few things that will make it so that even if you don't have a lot of friends, Kevin, you'll have a good opportunity to meet up with people and play the game solo for most of the time. The first thing, oh my gosh, what is happening? Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
It says there's a problem with the call. Hold on while we try to get the call back. Oh, Kevin's gone. All right, no big deal.
You made fun of him and he left. Is what happened. You shamed him into dropping the call.
We were just joking. That was obviously. Good old ribbing. Anyways, when it comes to solo versus group play, there's a few things for people to keep in mind. Number one, the level cap is 60 and is paced out to something you can hit. When you beat Hell difficulty, you can absolutely hit level 60 playing alone. Don't need a group. Not necessary. Also, if you're struggling at some point, you'll of course want to evaluate your gear, skill runes. So he's saying that if you're playing by yourself and you do run into troubles, it isn't so much that you need a group, but you should probably take a look at the skills you're using, the gear that you have, your rune selection, all those sorts of things. And then lastly, he mentions, due to their wonderful matchmaking system, finding someone to co-op with is really easy now. It's not the case where you have to kind of sit in a looking for group. It's not really a problem anymore. And Kevin's back, I believe. Is he mute?
Oh, yeah, I had myself muted because my computer was tripping out and I didn't want anybody to hear anything, and
Gotcha.
I just blue screened again. Not good.
Yep. So matchmaking system is awesome. You can solo the game. It isn't required that you play in a group. Whatever your preference is going to be, solo or group play. If you decide to play solo, or if you're just having trouble finding people to play with, the matchmaking system will make that much easier. And
it's insanely fast too. Like,
yeah.
To find a group, it's like instant boom in. But I will say in the beta, I don't know if it's still like this, but it was broken to the point where you would pick a quest to join, and it would like put you on some random game where they're like starting fresh, and you're like, what's going on here?
Well, you can select the quest that you're starting at too. I mean, that's like.
Yeah, but it's actually broken.
Oh, really? It's not working?
From what I understand. Yeah, it just kind of sends you wherever.
You go. We tell you to go.
You have to go here. You have no choice. You try to leave the game, it doesn't let you. It won't let you shut down your computer. You must play. You must sell items on the auction house. Make Blizzard money.
1.2 about grouping is if you're planning on doing magic finding, it will spread it among the group, which is kind of interesting the way they're doing this. And I think it's because they don't want someone going in with just magic find gear and being completely useless in a group.
Right. And that's a fair. Kevin doesn't.
Yeah.
Kevin has an issue with that, but I think that if you're in a group, that's a reasonable way to do it. But Kevin wants all his magic find to himself.
I think it's just gonna make it so anybody doing magic find is just gonna go play solo just to do their runs.
Exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, that's probably right. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't, because you are forced to share it. Now, once more, the counter argument to that is that if you're in a group with those people, they'll be killing things faster, right? I think that's kind of what we concluded before. So, sure, you can be doing less damage and have more magic find, but it's also going to take you longer to kill. So maybe if you're grouping up and you're killing faster, it ends up balancing out. I'm sure people will figure out whether or not that's actually worth it,
You could also do something like stack the ranged with magic find and just have like a tanky barbarian run through with regular gear and tank all the damage, something like that.
That would work.
Also, followers get magic find, so it kind of incentivizes you to put magic find on that, and then solo as well, because you don't get those in multiplayer.
Yeah, and you could also just equip your, any gear that the character's wearing, you could equip them with magic find too. I think that could work really well. I don't know how super effective the followers are going to be. I've never felt them to be like overwhelmingly effective. But all we've seen is the Templar, and he is just kind of the tank. Maybe the Scoundrel will be a little more effective, which is kind of like the Demon Hunter. Or what's the lady caster called?
Enchantress.
The Enchantress, yeah. We'll see how effective she is.
Well, they're going to be better than nothing as long as they don't die instantly.
Yeah, right. And that'll be interesting too, because initially followers were only meant to be on normal, but I guess they've changed that, and you can use them all throughout now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
What? Kevin.
What?
You were about to say something.
All I said was yup. I said yup. I was agreeing with you. They are changed to be on the full game now.
Moving on. Last topic will be multi-boxing. I guess this kind of goes to our discussion about hacks. People were asking, hey, can we multi-box in Diablo 3? He says he knows it's okay with WoW, but how is that going to work in D3? Terms of use, I'm pretty sure most recent updates stating that it's just not okay, period. I don't think that you're supposed to multi-box. I wanted to talk about multi-boxing experiences. Now, I think the problem with multi-boxing and how it's going to be excluded is that in order to multi-box, most people are using programs that are making it so that, you hit a key on one character and it's all kind of lined up with the other characters, the other accounts that you have opened, and so that they're all attacking with the same attack at the same time, something along those lines. And using those specific programs is something that we're not supposed to be doing. So I guess technically we aren't allowed to multi-box. I don't really understand why, though. I don't see why Blizzard has a big deal with this. If someone is willing to pay for multiple accounts and, have those up and running on their computer, their supercomputer. They want four accounts open to do a full group in Diablo 3. I suppose this is probably to combat, like farmers, right? This has got to be why they don't want this to happen.
This makes no sense to me. It makes zero sense. Why? Not the Blizzard's decision. Why you would want to multi-box on Diablo 3?
Well, I think farming specifically.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I guess that makes sense. That's the one scenario I can see that happening, because every other one doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
How would you effectively... Sorry, go ahead.
No, just why would you do it? There's no PvP yet, so that's kind of a moot point. You can't farm specific items because you don't know where they drop. Most of the stuff you do, and if you're like a gold farming company or whatever, you have a whole crew. You don't need to have one dude playing 4. You can have 4 dudes go in quickly and do it. Though I guess if you want to be, really cost
they would have each guy doing 4.
Yeah, each guy doing 4. Yeah, all right. Shut up. I'll be quiet.
Technically, it's like it is pretty. Honestly, if I were to run a gold farming company, I would have everyone multi-box to the maximum capabilities. So there'd be every person playing 4. You're 4 times the chance to find items, and then go ahead and sell those items.
I think my complaint through. Shut up.
No, but I mean, this is good though, just to kind of hash it out and figure out the reason behind this. I have to assume that this is the only reason, because as Jesse said, besides that, there's really no point to doing it. So I have to assume that this is why they're not okay with multi-boxing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, does it hurt Blizzard?
Games usually allow multi-boxing if there's no type of macroing or sort of cheating the system on the actual keystrokes. So in Diablo 3, effectively, if you could play 4 classes on 4 computers, it'd be okay. I just don't see how you're going to pick up the loot. That would.
They would have to probably have botting programs that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's
sweeps.
where it crosses the line.
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, MF is group wide now, so why don't I just have 3 characters that have complete MF, and I use my barb as my main, and I only pick up the loot on my barb. Well, now I've got 4 characters killing stuff super fast. I only have to worry about picking up loot for 1 character.
Well, you'd be missing all the loot that drops for those other characters.
Yeah, you would.
Is it worth it to pick it up if you can't effectively do it within the time? I don't know.
It's interesting. People are still going to do it. Like, multi-boxing will happen. I know it's against the terms of use, but it's still going to happen. And unless Blizzard's warden system is able to sniff that stuff out, it'll definitely still exist. So we'll see. It's probably. I mean, we have to assume that these things are going to result in bans, though. So I'll let you know right now, if you're going to try multi-boxing, be ready to have your Battle.net account banned. It's pretty serious now that real money's involved directly. In the past, in games, real money's been involved through third-party sites, but now that real money's involved directly, Blizzard is really incentivized to prevent stuff like this from happening, and they will likely go after people pretty hard if they find that you're trying to game the system and get extra money by doing things like botting and multi-boxing and stuff. I guarantee they're going to be pretty cutthroat about it. I don't see how they couldn't be. They could deal with lawsuits from people and all sorts of problems. So have to imagine that that's going to be an issue. So no multi-boxing, please. You can try it, but get ready to be banned. I wanted to quickly bring this up over on Reddit. Someone made some Diablo 3 beer.
What?
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Reddit!
Diablo 3 beer. Unfortunately, there was no specifics. I'll have to run through the Reddit post really quickly. I don't think he talked about what kind of a beer is this. It looks. I have to assume it's a dark beer, like a Guinness, but it's in a bottle and it's just awesome.
Oh yeah,
cool.
and the top has like the red and
Wax.
orange drizzle. Yeah, that's cool.
It's pretty
It is
awesome.
That's homemade. It's a home brewery.
I'm a fan. I mean, this is
Oh, you know-
this could be like just Sam Adams or whatever. It doesn't matter. He's got a nice label on it. And
You know this guy is a hardcore nerd because look at the other beers in the fridge. There's Darth Vader beer. This is amazing.
what is he saving that for, though? Is that just a special occasion when he figures out who his
hilarious.
father is or something?
Wow. He's gonna be like, no. Then he's gonna take a sip.
Take a swig of the beer. No, that's cool though. I thought it was awesome, so I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. It's just some pretty sweet looking Diablo. Looks like he's got a crappy fridge though. Look at that. It's all plastic and stuff.
We're not complaining about some dude's fridge like this fridge.
Hey man, you put stuff on the internet, you leave it up to criticism. Kind of how it works. No, awesome though. Really cool Diablo beer. I'm a huge fan. Quick little update. Apparently the beta is still just shot. It's not working for people at all. I'm going to try to hop in here real quick just to confirm that. But if you're listening to this and you're waiting to get in the beta, I mentioned it earlier, you probably just give yourself a couple hours, chill out, come back. You have all weekend. I know it probably sucks to hear it, but they're obviously overloaded right now. This is obviously not working at the moment. And actually, I just tried right now and I got the servers are busy at this time. Please try again later. Error number 37. So yes, they are down. And we'll just have to wait until they kind of smooth everything out. We'll see. I don't know if there's been an update officially from Blizzard. I haven't checked in the course of this podcast. I'm sure if they haven't said anything yet that they will sometime soon.
They're working on it.
Yeah, just to let us know what's... Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Jesse's right. They're obviously working on it regardless, and they'll get it up as soon as they can. And lastly, we'll wrap up with some community questions here. As always, we will ask 4 questions on the Facebook about an hour or 2 hours before the podcast. So if you ever have any questions that you want answered at the end of DiabloCast, that is where you are going to want to go. First question coming from Jacob. What was the Mystic and why was it removed? Also, do you really think it will be months before PvP is released when they could just patch things weekly like they did with WoW? Any ways to fix discrepancies? I don't foresee an expansion at all for at least 2 to 3 years. What do you think? Wow, it's got a lot of stuff there. So first of all, Kevin, why don't you explain what was the Mystic and why was it removed?
She was just the last artisan, and she was supposed to give us like enchants on our items. So things like ice enchant and I don't even know what else, like knockback and things of that nature. She was removed because Blizzard said that. Basically, she wasn't really adding anything more, so they kind of just took the enchants off of what she would be giving us and threw it into the affix pool, and that was kind of that.
And I think that another thing, too, is that it was widely speculated that a lot of her function would be tied to the runestones, and runestones were removed.
True.
People were saying that she could, because it used to be, runestones would drop on the ground. There's several levels, and they were even talking about unattuned runestones. And people were saying if you don't get a runestone that you like, she could wipe it clean, and you could start over again, stuff like that. And I think that if that was the case when the runestone system was in place, and they removed the runestone system, they're like, okay, now what does the Mystic do? She just enchants items. Kind of not worth it. And they felt that she wasn't up to par with where they wanted her to be, and as a result, they just took her out completely. I think they said she is supposed to be coming back, but we just don't know when. They're probably just going to have to add more systems to her later down the road. In fact, and that goes ahead and reminds me, maybe once glyphs come back, she'll be doing that as well, If glyphs
Or
come back.
charms, remember
Whip?
those?
Oh, I was like, what? The talisman? Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so maybe once that's implemented, if it does ever come back, then maybe she'll have something to do with that as well. PvP, I definitely think it's going to be a few months. I say 2 to 3 months. I don't know if you guys have any other predictions. Jesse, you're good at predicting. When is PvP going to come out?
August.
Are you?
He has spoken.
All right, that'll
That's
do.
all you need to know.
right.
I don't do specific dates anymore. August.
So now it's gonna come out a week or a week before.
It'll
or
be in
after
June.
August.
It'll be in June is what's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
And he didn't even specify which year, so we got a lot of leeway here.
Yeah.
And then he also said that he doesn't foresee an expansion coming out for at least 2 to 3 years. I think they're on a 1.5-year timetable is what they've been shooting for most of their games. So maybe 2 years, but 3 years definitely not. I don't think it's going to be that long.
I kind of agree with the whole 2-3 years sentiment. At the Activision Blizzard conference call, I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was like just the last one. They said that they'd have a D3 expansion out within 3 years of the original game's release.
How long has
So-
Heart of the Swarm been in development now?
Yeah, since
it's been
July
long,
of
right?
2010. So it was supposed to be out within 1.5 years, and then it turned into like 20 months. And
Well, I'm pretty sure what happened, though, is like they planned to release Diablo 3 last winter, so they probably would have been looking to release Heart of the Swarm mid-year this year or something, you know? I think that the delay of Diablo 3 really pushed back a lot of their other plans as well. I'm pretty sure they had to divert resources, you know, once they realized the game's not coming out when they wanted it to. They probably pulled team members from other projects and had them help expedite Diablo 3, but...
That's true, and they probably don't want it coming out at similar dates.
Oh,
you
definitely
know?
not. Yeah, they definitely probably going to try to stagger it. Although, what was it? Cataclysm came out right next to StarCraft 2, though.
yeah, it was a couple months later. It was July for StarCraft 2, and then November or December for Cataclysm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my expectation. I don't think that it'll be much later than 3 years.
Heart of
though.
the Swarm is January 12th. Calling
Okay,
it now.
Jesus, Jesse.
January 12th. Heart of the Swarm.
Here's a good question. Hey, Force, are you nervous that the servers might crash at release? Well, based on
I hope
today, it's quite possible. I just that's kind of rough. it's a rough
Yeah.
a rough start, but this is exactly what they need. So maybe it's perfect that they decided to open up the beta and get their testing going on. Question now from Isaac. I've checked out the legendary items and I wonder, is it possible that it's going to be like D2, that legendaries will be the stuff to have, or will the rare be the stuff to have? What do you think? Legendaries are still the top tier, right?
Yeah, as
Yeah.
far as I'm aware.
As far yeah. So I'm pretty sure rares aren't really that, you know, they're not going to be that great. I mean, it's obviously going to depend. You're going to have a mix and match of things. You don't necessarily want all legendaries because maybe the legendaries you find aren't the best for you. So that's yeah.
Did they change the color code? It went from rares being yellow. Next up was purple, right?
I have to take a look at the list. I
don't even remember.
Well, I mean, I haven't
pretty
looked
sure.
into it because it's not even dropping in the beta, so I don't.
Yeah.
Last question here. How will the auction house visibility/availability be determined? In WoW, the economy was limited to server shards. In D3, the potentially hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of players will be a huge hassle to browse similar items on sale. It was one common auction house. Is there some segregation system, perhaps by regions, or similar to WoW by servers? It is going to be by region, and currency type specifically, though. So there's a USD one, there's a Euro one, et cetera, et cetera. And in terms of the going through all of the items, I think they're just relying on their filtration system because they've got a really good filter system when searching for things on the Diablo 3 auction house. And that is going to be because there are going to be a crap ton of items, and that's really the only way they're going to be able to reasonably make it easy for people to find stuff. So there you have it. Anything else? You guys want to say anything else about Diablo before we wrap up today? Or you guys pretty much all
Less than a
set?
month away.
I can't wait. Come on.
Yeah.
Freeze me in carbonite. Wake me up.
I don't even know how many more podcasts do we have. 1, 2, 3 more podcasts. Looks
Yeah.
like 3 more DiabloCast, and we will.
I gotta be honest. I can't wait to the podcasts after May 1st and before May 15th, because there will literally be nothing to talk about. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll announce something. Someone asked if they're going to announce a 6th class. You think we're going to get a
at
6th
this
class
point-
before release?
Yeah, it's gonna be Thrall. Thrall will be in the game.
That seems reasonable to me. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of DiabloCast. Tune in next Friday for another episode as we chat all of the most recent Diablo happenings, waste about a bunch of time, show up late, be completely off topic, all the things that are standard here in DiabloCast. For Kevin, Jesse, and Jada, this has been Dennis, and we will see you guys next week.
Take it easy, guys.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
Oh, man.
12 endings later.
Kevin, what the heck? What are you doing?
I played so much. What?
Are you gonna show up for your own show tonight? Is that even something that's on your radar?
I'm a little worried about that. It's supposed to start in an hour and a half.
Oh shit! Have fun.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
All right, I gotta go. I have to get on another call. This is.
Me too.
All right.
See you guys.
Later, guys.
Take it easy.
That's it.